My wife's idea of helping her sick mother involves more designer perfume than medical supplies. Funny how grief smells like Chanel No. 5. I'm Eli Weston, 48 years old, owner of Weston Landscaping in the sleepy New England town of Millbrook. 20 years of turning suburban lawns into magazine covers taught me one thing. Everything looks perfect on the surface until you dig deeper. Tonight, I'm about to excavate the biggest lie of my life. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. I'll be back tomorrow evening, honey, Cara says, checking her reflection in our hallway mirror. At 29, she's still got that knockout beauty that made me forget our 19-year age gap. Her auburn hair catches the lamplight as she applies lipstick with surgical precision. Mom's really struggling with the chemo. I nod from my recliner, beer in hand, watching her performance. Give her my love. Drive safe. She kisses my forehead. A gesture that once melted my heart, now feels calculated. Her phone buzzes. She glances at it, and I catch the flash of something in her eyes. Excitement? Anticipation? Definitely not grief. That's probably Mom now, she lies smoothly. I should get going. The door closes with a soft click. Through the window, I watch her silver Honda disappear down Maple Street. I wait exactly 10 minutes, then grab my truck keys. 23 years in this town means I know every shortcut, every back road. Cara's taking Route 9 toward the interstate, supposedly heading to her mother's house in Springfield, 90 minutes away. Instead, she turns into downtown Millbrook and pulls into the Millbrook Inn parking lot. My hands grip the steering wheel as I park behind the dumpsters, engine off, watching. The inn's neon sign flickers red against the October darkness. This place isn't exactly the Ritz. It's where traveling salesmen and desperate affairs happen. What the hell is Cara doing here? She sits in her car for 5 minutes, texting. Then she walks into the lobby like she owns the place. I'm sweating now, my heart hammering against my ribs. Every instinct screams that I should leave, go home, pretend this never happened. But I can't move. 20 minutes pass. Then the lobby door opens, and my world implodes. My stepson Jake walks out, hair still damp from a shower, adjusting his shirt. Jake Morrison, 24 years old, my late wife's son, who I raised from age 12. The kid I taught to drive, helped through college, gave a job at my company. The personal trainer with the cocky smile and gym-sculpted body that makes middle-aged women swoon. He's walking out of the hotel where my wife just checked in. I sit there in the darkness, watching him drive away in his black Camaro, and something cold settles in my chest. Not rage, not yet. Something calculating, methodical. Like the feeling I get when I'm planning a complex landscaping project, figuring out how to tear up the old and plant something new. They think they're so clever. They think I'm just the older husband, the reliable provider, too trusting to notice. They have no idea who they're dealing with. I drive home in silence, pour 3 fingers of bourbon, and open my laptop. Time to start documenting everything. Every lie, every sick mother story, every late night at the gym. I'm going to build a case that would make a prosecutor weep with joy. My phone buzzes. Text from Cara. Mom's sleeping. Love you. I type back. Love you too. Rest well. The lies flow so easily between us now. But mine have a purpose. Theirs are about to become evidence. Morning comes with the sharp clarity that only follows a sleepless night. I'm up at 5, coffee brewing, mind racing through possibilities. Cara won't be back until evening, which gives me a full day to investigate. My business partner Tommy Pierce arrives at the yard at 7 sharp, same as he has for 15 years. Tommy's one of those guys who looks exactly like what he is. A working man's man, weathered hands, honest eyes, the kind of friend who'd help you move a body without asking questions. You look like hell, Eli, he says, climbing out of his pickup. Cara keeping you up with worry about her mom? I almost laugh. Something like that. Tommy, I need a favor. Can you handle the Morrison job today? I've got some personal business to take care of. Sure thing. Everything okay? We'll be soon. I drive to the Millbrook Inn, park in the back lot, and walk into the lobby like I belong there. The desk clerk is Mrs. Blevins, a 60-something gossip who's worked here since the Carter administration. She knows everyone's business and isn't shy about sharing it, for the right price. Eli Weston, what brings you to our humble establishment? Her eyes gleam with curiosity. Hey, Mrs. Blevins. Weird question, but did you happen to see my wife Cara here last night? She said she was driving to Springfield, but I could have sworn I saw her car in your lot. Mrs. Blevins leans forward conspiratorially. Oh, honey, she's been here quite a bit lately. Always pays cash, always requests room 237. Sweet girl, but I did wonder why she needed a room when she lives right here in town. My stomach drops, but I keep my voice steady. How often is quite a bit? Every couple weeks for the past 3 months. And that handsome stepson of yours has been visiting too. Such a devoted family you have. The words hit like a physical blow, but I manage a smile. They're close. Listen, Mrs. Blevins, this is embarrassing, but I think Cara might be planning a surprise party for me. Could you do me a huge favor and not mention I was asking about her? I'd hate to ruin the surprise. She winks. Your secret's safe with me, honey. I slip her $50 and walk out, my mind reeling. 3 months. This has been going on for 3 months, and I've been completely oblivious. Every girls' night out, every helping mom, every working late at the salon, all lies. Back at the office, I start making calls. My lawyer first, Jim Hendricks, who handled my divorce from Jake's mother 15 years ago. Then my accountant, then my bank. If this is going to be war, I need to know exactly where I stand financially. The picture that emerges makes me sick. Cara has access to our joint accounts, our business credit cards, everything. She's been spending freely, cash withdrawals that now make perfect sense, hotel charges I never questioned, shopping sprees I thought were just her treating herself. Jake's been on the company payroll for 2 years as a fitness consultant for our crew. $25 an hour for what amounts to showing up twice a week to lead stretching exercises. I created that position for him, wanted to help him get established. Now I realize I've been paying him to screw my wife. My phone rings, Cara's name on the display. Hi, sweetheart, I answer, my voice steady. Hi, baby. How's your day going? She sounds relaxed, happy, satisfied. Good, busy. How's your mom? Better today. We might go for a walk later if she's feeling up to it. The lie rolls off her tongue like silk. I miss you. Miss you too. See you tonight. After I hang up, I sit in my office chair and stare at the wall covered with photos, job sites, company picnics, family gatherings. In half of them, Jake and Cara are standing close together, laughing at some private joke. How did I miss it? How was I so blind? Tommy knocks on the doorframe. You sure you're okay? You look like someone ran over your dog. Worse. Someone's been running over my marriage. I tell him everything. Tommy listens without interrupting, his expression growing darker with each detail. When I finish, he's quiet for a long moment. What do you want to do? He asks finally. I want to destroy them both, legally, financially, socially. I want them to regret the day they decided to make me look like a fool. Tommy nods slowly. Then let's get started. The next 2 weeks pass in a blur of careful surveillance and strategic planning. I've become a part-time private investigator, documenting every lie, every secret meeting, every stolen moment between my wife and stepson. The pattern is disgustingly predictable. Every Tuesday and Friday, Cara has a client emergency that keeps her at the salon late. Jake has evening training sessions that run past midnight. They think they're being clever, staggering their alibis by an hour or two. I follow them to the Millbrook Inn, to the old quarry outside town, even to Jake's apartment when they think I'm safely at home watching television. My phone is full of photos, timestamps, license plate numbers. I've become obsessed with building an airtight case. The financial investigation reveals even more betrayal. Cara's been using our business credit card to pay for hotel rooms, expensive dinners, shopping trips to Boston. Jake's been padding his hours, claiming overtime for work he never did. Together, they've stolen nearly $15,000 over the past 6 months. But the worst part isn't the money. It's the lies. The way Cara kisses me goodbye before meeting him. The way Jake calls me dad while stabbing me in the back. The way they sit at our dinner table, making small talk about their days while planning their next rendezvous. I start making subtle changes. I remove Jake from the company insurance policy. I change the passwords on our business accounts. I quietly transfer money from our joint savings into an account that only I control. When Cara asks about the missing funds, I blame slow payments from clients. Maybe I should get a part-time job, she suggests one evening over dinner, just until business picks up. The irony is almost funny. She already has a part-time job, lying to me. That's sweet, honey, but we're fine. Business always slows down in the fall. She smiles and squeezes my hand. I love how you take care of everything. I'm so lucky to have you. I squeeze back. I'm the lucky one. The lies are becoming easier. We're both getting good at this game. My breaking point comes on a Thursday night in November. I'm supposed to be at a town planning meeting, but it was canceled at the last minute. I come home early to find Jake's car in my driveway and the house dark except for the bedroom window. I sit in my truck for 20 minutes, hands shaking with rage before driving away. I can't go in there, not yet. I'm not ready for the confrontation that would follow, but I'm getting close. At the Rusty Anchor, Millbrook's only real bar, I order a double bourbon and try to calm down. The place is nearly empty, just me, the bartender Mike, and a couple of regulars watching a Patriots game. Rough day? Mike asks, refilling my glass without being asked. Getting rougher by the minute. Want to talk about it? I almost laugh. Where would I even start? Instead, I shake my head and focus on the game. But my mind keeps wandering back to that lit bedroom window, to the betrayal happening in my own bed, in my own house. My phone buzzes. Text from Cara. Fell asleep early. Love you. This time I don't text back. Let her wonder. By the time I get home, Jake's car is gone, and Cara is asleep in our bed, wearing the silk nightgown I bought her for our anniversary. She stirs when I come in, giving me a sleepy smile. How was the meeting? She murmurs. Productive, I lie, undressing in the dark. Very productive. I lie awake next to her for hours, listening to her breathe, planning my next move. The evidence-gathering phase is almost complete. Soon, it'll be time for the main event. The opportunity comes sooner than expected. On a gray Monday morning in late November, Jake shows up at the yard with his usual cocky swagger, ready to lead the crew through their weekly fitness session. He's wearing expensive workout gear that I know he can't afford on his legitimate salary. Morning, Dad, he says, that easy smile that once made me proud now making my skin crawl. Ready to get these guys in shape? Actually, Jake, we need to talk. In my office. Something in my tone wipes the smile off his face. He follows me inside, and I close the door behind us. Sit down. He sits, and I can see the first flicker of nervousness in his eyes. Good. I open my desk drawer and pull out a manila folder thick with bank statements, credit card bills, and hotel receipts. I spread them across the desk like a poker player revealing a royal flush. Recognize any of this? Jake's face goes white as he scans the documents. His mouth opens and closes like a fish gasping for air. I can explain. Don't. My voice is calm, controlled. Don't insult my intelligence by trying to explain away 3 months of hotel receipts, padded timesheets, and fraudulent expense reports. Just listen. I lean back in my chair, enjoying the moment. You're fired, effective immediately. You'll repay every penny you've stolen plus interest. If you refuse, I'll press charges for embezzlement and fraud. Are we clear? Dad, please, don't call me that. You lost the right when you started screwing my wife. The words hang in the air like a final verdict. Jake's shoulders slump, and for a moment he looks like the scared 12-year-old I once comforted after nightmares. How long have you known? Long enough. The question is, what are you going to do about it? He's quiet for a long moment, staring at his hands. What do you want? I want you gone. Out of my business, out of my life, out of this town if you're smart. I want you to disappear so completely that people forget you ever existed. And Cara? Cara's my problem. You're about to become someone else's. I stand up and walk to the door. You have until 5 o'clock to clean out your things and get off my property. After that, I call the police. Jake stands on shaky legs. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. No, you're not. You're sorry you got caught. There's a difference. After he leaves, I sit back down and call my lawyer. Phase 1 is complete. Now for the real challenge. That evening, I'm waiting when Cara comes home from her busy day at the salon. She's humming as she walks through the door, keys jingling, completely oblivious to the fact that her world is about to collapse. Hey, honey, she calls out. How was your day? Interesting. Come sit down. We need to talk. The change in her demeanor is immediate. The humming stops, the smile fades, and she approaches the living room like she's walking to her execution. Is everything okay? I gesture to the couch across from my chair. Sit. She sits, and I pull out a second manila folder, this one even thicker than Jake's. I fired Jake today. Her face goes through a series of expressions, confusion, concern, and finally, barely concealed panic. Why? What happened? He was stealing from the company, padding his hours, falsifying expense reports, using company credit cards for personal expenses. I pause, watching her carefully. Hotel expenses, specifically. The color drains from her face. I don't understand. Room 237 at the Millbrook Inn, every Tuesday and Friday for the past 3 months. Ring any bells? She opens her mouth to speak, but no words come out. I've never seen Cara speechless before. It's almost worth the pain of betrayal. Here's what's going to happen, I continue, my voice steady and businesslike. You're going to pack a bag and leave. Tonight. You can stay wherever you want. Your mother's, a friend's house, a cardboard box under the interstate for all I care. But you're not sleeping in my bed ever again. Eli, please let me explain. There's nothing to explain. I have photos, credit card statements, witness testimony, hotel records. I know everything, Cara. Everything. Tears start flowing down her cheeks, but I feel nothing. No sympathy, no regret, no second thoughts. I'll file for divorce tomorrow morning. You can contest it if you want, but I wouldn't recommend it. Adultery is still grounds for divorce in Massachusetts, and it affects property division. You might want to get yourself a good lawyer. She's sobbing now, mascara running down her face like black rain. I love you, Eli. This was just, it didn't mean anything. It meant everything to me. My trust, my marriage, my family. You threw it all away for what? A few hours a week with someone half my age? I stand up and walk toward the stairs. You have 1 hour to pack. After that, I'm changing the locks. Where am I supposed to go? I turn back to look at her one last time. This woman I thought I'd spend the rest of my life with, now just a stranger crying on my couch. I honestly don't care. The next 3 weeks are a masterclass in strategic warfare. While Cara scrambles to find a lawyer and Jake disappears from town like smoke, I systematically dismantle everything they thought they could count on. First, the financial assault. I freeze all joint accounts, cancel shared credit cards, and remove Cara from the business insurance. My lawyer files for divorce citing adultery and fraud, demanding full restitution for stolen funds and asking for the maximum property division allowed under state law. Cara's lawyer, a young public defender who clearly drew the short straw, tries to negotiate. I reject every offer. She wants half the house? No. She wants alimony? Absolutely not. She wants to keep her car? She can make the payments herself. The social destruction is even more satisfying. In a town like Millbrook, reputation is everything, and word travels faster than gossip at a church potluck. I don't have to say much, just a few carefully placed comments to the right people, and the story spreads like wildfire. Mrs. Blevins at the hotel is particularly helpful, sharing details about Cara and Jake's visits with anyone who'll listen. The ladies at the beauty salon where Cara worked are scandalized. The guys at the Rusty Anchor shake their heads in disgust. Jake's personal training clients start canceling appointments. But my former friends, the couples we used to socialize with, the neighbors who invited us to barbecues, the people I thought would understand, they surprise me with their reaction. Instead of support, I get lectures about forgiveness and moving on. Maybe you should consider counseling, suggests Bob Martinez at the hardware store. Marriage is work, Eli. Sometimes people make mistakes. This wasn't a mistake, Bob. This was 3 months of calculated betrayal. Still, throwing away a marriage over one affair seems extreme. I stare at him in disbelief. One affair? With my stepson? Using my money? In my town? While lying to my face every single day? Bob shrugs. I'm just saying, maybe there's a way to work through this. The conversation with Sarah and Tom Wilson is even worse. They invite me over for dinner, supposedly to check on my well-being, but it quickly becomes an intervention. We're worried about you, Sarah says over her famous pot roast. This vendetta against Cara and Jake isn't healthy. Vendetta? I'm getting divorced and pressing charges for theft. That's called consequences. But you're destroying their lives, Tom adds. Jake had to leave town. Cara's living in a studio apartment above the pizza place. Maybe it's time to show some mercy. I set down my fork and look at these people I once considered close friends. Let me ask you something. If Sarah was screwing your son and stealing your money, would you be talking about mercy? The table goes quiet. Sarah's face flushes red. That's different, Tom mumbles. How? How is it different? It just is. I stand up and grab my coat. Thanks for dinner, and for showing me who my real friends are. The final blow comes from an unexpected source. My business starts suffering as former friends, and their extended network stop calling for landscaping services. 3 major contracts get canceled with vague excuses about budget constraints. The Millbrook Country Club, where I've maintained the grounds for 8 years, terminates my contract effective immediately. Tommy and I are going over the books when the scope of the damage becomes clear. We're down about 40% from last year, he says grimly. If this keeps up, we might have to lay off some guys. It's that bad? People are choosing sides, Eli. And apparently a lot of them think you're the villain in this story. I lean back in my chair, stunned. I'm the villain? For expecting my wife to be faithful and my stepson not to steal from me? I'm not saying it's right. I'm just telling you what's happening. That evening, I sit in my empty house. Cara took half the furniture in the divorce settlement and realize that my quest for justice has cost me almost everything. My marriage, my stepson, my friends, and now my business are all casualties of this war. But I'm not done yet, not even close. The final confrontation comes in early December, on a snowy Thursday evening at the Rusty Anchor. I'm nursing my second bourbon when Jake walks in, looking like he hasn't slept in weeks. He's lost weight, and there's a desperate edge to his movements that wasn't there before. He spots me immediately and walks over, ignoring the hostile stares from other patrons who know our story. We need to talk, he says. No, we don't. Please, just 5 minutes. Against my better judgment, I nod toward an empty booth in the corner. We sit across from each other like gunfighters at high noon, the air thick with tension. I'm leaving Massachusetts, he says, without preamble. Moving to California. I've got a cousin in San Diego who says he can get me work. Good for you. But I wanted to apologize first. Really apologize, not the bullshit I said in your office. I take a sip of bourbon and wait. I know you don't believe me, but it wasn't supposed to happen. It just did. One night she was crying about how lonely she was, how you were always working, and I was trying to comfort her, and things got out of hand. Save it, Jake. I don't need your sob story. I'm not making excuses. What we did was wrong, unforgivable. But I need you to know that I never stopped loving you. You're the only real father I ever had. The words hit harder than I expected, but I keep my expression neutral. If that were true, you wouldn't have betrayed me. You're right. I'm a selfish piece of shit who destroyed the best thing in his life for a few hours of meaningless closeness. Is that what you want to hear? I want to hear that you're leaving and never coming back. Jake nods slowly. I am. But first, there's something you need to know about Cara. I know everything I need to know. No, you don't. He leans forward, lowering his voice. This wasn't her first affair, Eli. There were others before me. You're lying. I wish I was. She told me about them. The UPS driver, some guy from the country club, a client from the salon. She said you were too trusting to ever figure it out. The words hit like physical blows. I grip my glass so hard I'm surprised it doesn't shatter. She said you were a good provider but boring in bed, that she needed excitement, adventure. She was using me just like she used the others. I want to call him a liar, to dismiss this as a desperate attempt to shift blame. But deep down, I know it's true. The signs were all there. The unexplained absences, the sudden interest in new lingerie, the way she'd come home from work, looking flushed and satisfied. Why are you telling me this? Because you deserve to know the truth, and because I want you to understand that what happened between us, she planned it. She seduced me, not the other way around. I finish my bourbon in one burning gulp. Get out of my sight. Dad, get out before I do something we'll both regret. Jake stands up slowly, pulls on his coat, and walks toward the door. Halfway there, he turns back. For what it's worth, I hope someday you can forgive me. Don't hold your breath. After he leaves, I sit alone in the booth, processing this new information. The betrayal runs deeper than I imagined. Not just 3 months with Jake, but years of affairs, years of lies, years of making me look like a fool. My phone buzzes. Text message from an unknown number. We need to talk. Meet me at the quarry in an hour. Come alone. Cara. I stare at the message for a long moment, then finish my drink and head for the door. The old quarry sits on the outskirts of Millbrook, a deep pit filled with dark water where teenagers go to drink beer and make bad decisions. It's isolated, surrounded by woods, the perfect place for a private conversation or a body disposal. Cara's Honda is already there when I arrive, headlights cutting through the falling snow. She gets out as I park, wrapped in a long coat that makes her look smaller, more vulnerable than I remember. But I know better now. Vulnerability is just another weapon in her arsenal. Thank you for coming, she says as I approach. Make it quick. I'm freezing my ass off. Jake came to see you tonight. It's not a question. So? He told you about the others. I study her face in the dim light from our headlights. No tears this time, no dramatic breakdown, just cold calculation. How many others, Cara? Does it matter? It matters to me. She's quiet for a moment, breath visible in the cold air. 7. Over the course of our marriage. 7. The number hits like a punch to the gut. Jesus Christ. You want their names? Their details? How long each affair lasted, where we met, what positions we used. I want to know why. Because I could. Because you made it easy. Because you trusted me completely and never asked questions. She shrugs. Because I was bored. The casual cruelty in her voice is breathtaking. This is the woman I loved, the woman I married, the woman I would have faded for. Now she's standing in the snow, calmly describing years of systematic betrayal like she's discussing the weather. You destroyed my life for entertainment? I didn't destroy anything. You did that yourself with your obsessive need for revenge. You could have quietly divorced me, taken your lumps and moved on. Instead, you had to make it a public spectacle. You were stealing from my business. Pocket change. You make more in a month than most people see in a year. But your precious pride was wounded, so you had to destroy everything. I take a step closer, anger building in my chest. My pride? You made me look like an idiot in front of the entire town. You are an idiot. A boring, predictable, middle-aged idiot who thinks mowing lawns makes him important. Her voice turns vicious. Do you really think a woman like me would be satisfied with a man like you? I married you for security, not passion. Then why not just leave? Because I liked the lifestyle, the house, the money, the respect that comes with being Mrs. Eli Weston. I just needed a little excitement on the side. The pieces finally click into place. The tears, the apologies, the pleas for forgiveness, all performance art. She's not sorry for the betrayal, she's angry about getting caught. So what's this about, Cara? Why did you want to meet? I want to make a deal. What kind of deal? Drop the charges. Give me a decent settlement. Stop poisoning people against me. In return, I'll disappear. Move to another state? Start over somewhere else? I laugh, a harsh sound in the cold air. You think you're in a position to negotiate? I think you're in a position to lose everything. Your business is already circling the drain. Your friends think you're a vindictive asshole. How long before you lose your house, your reputation, everything you've worked for? At least I'll have my self-respect. Self-respect doesn't pay the bills, Eli. Pride doesn't keep you warm at night. She's right, and we both know it. My crusade for justice has cost me almost everything. But giving up now, letting her walk away with a settlement and a clean slate, feels like the ultimate defeat. What makes you think I care about any of that? Because you're not a destroyer, Eli. You're a builder. You create things, fix things, make things better. This scorched earth campaign isn't who you are. For a moment, I almost believe her. Almost consider the possibility that mercy might be better than justice, that cutting my losses might be wiser than pursuing total victory. Then I remember the hotel receipts, the stolen money, the years of lies, the way she just described our entire marriage as a business transaction. You're right about one thing, I say finally. I am a builder, but sometimes you have to tear down the old foundation before you can build something new. Her face hardens. So that's your answer? That's my answer. You'll regret this, Eli. I promise you that. Maybe, but I'll regret it with a clear conscience. She turns and walks back to her car without another word. I watch her drive away, taillights disappearing into the snowy darkness, and realize that this is probably the last time I'll ever see her. Good riddance. 3 weeks later, I'm in my lawyer's office reviewing the final divorce settlement when Jim Hendricks drops a bombshell that changes everything. I've got some interesting news, he says, sliding a document across his desk. Cara's been busy since your little chat at the quarry. The document is a police report. Cara has filed charges against me for harassment, stalking, and making terroristic threats. According to her statement, I've been following her, making threatening phone calls, and generally making her life a living hell. This is bullshit, I say, scanning the fabricated allegations. I haven't contacted her once since that night. I know that, and you know that, but she's got a very convincing story. Claims you've been driving by her apartment, calling her workplace, sending anonymous threatening letters. Can she prove any of this? She's got witnesses. Friends who claim they saw your truck outside her building. Phone records showing calls from blocked numbers. Copies of letters that supposedly came from you. I lean back in my chair, grudging admiration mixing with fury. Even in defeat, Cara's still playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. What's her endgame? She wants a restraining order and a settlement. Probably figures if she can make you look like a dangerous stalker, you'll pay her to go away quietly. And if I don't? Then you might find yourself facing criminal charges. Harassment and stalking are serious felonies in Massachusetts. I think about this for a moment. Cara's always been smart, but this is brilliant. She's turned the tables completely, making herself the victim and me the aggressor. Even if I can prove my innocence, the accusations alone will destroy what's left of my reputation. What do you recommend? Honestly? Take the deal. Give her what she wants and move on with your life. Sometimes the best victory is knowing when to quit. That evening, I sit in my empty house, weighing my options. I could fight the charges, spend thousands on legal fees, and maybe, clear my name. Or I could give Cara her settlement and watch her disappear into whatever hole she crawled out of. My phone rings. Tommy's name on the display. You see the news? He asks without preamble. What news? Check Channel 7. You're famous. I flip on the television just in time to catch the tail end of a news story about my case. The reporter, a serious-looking woman in her 30s, is standing outside the courthouse with a microphone. Allegations of stalking and harassment against local businessman Eli Weston, who made headlines last month for his contentious divorce from his much younger wife. Mrs. Weston claims her ex-husband has been systematically terrorizing her since their separation, forcing her to live in fear for her safety. The screen cuts to an interview with Cara, who's managed to look both beautiful and tragic in a way that makes my stomach turn. She's sitting in what appears to be a lawyer's office, dabbing at her eyes with a tissue. I just want to move on with my life, she says in a trembling voice. But Eli won't let me. He follows me, calls me at all hours, sends me horrible letters. I'm afraid of what he might do next. The interviewer leans forward sympathetically. Have you considered getting a restraining order? My lawyer says we should, but I keep hoping Eli will get the help he needs and leave me alone. I don't want to destroy him. I just want him to let me go. The performance is flawless. She comes across as a frightened young woman being terrorized by her bitter ex-husband. I come across as a dangerous lunatic who can't accept rejection. My phone starts ringing immediately. First Tommy, then my lawyer, then reporters who somehow got my number. I turn off the phone and pour myself a very large drink. The next morning brings fresh hell. My remaining clients are canceling contracts left and right. The guys who still work for me are getting questions from their wives about whether it's safe to be associated with me. Even Mrs. Blevins at the hotel, my former ally, gives me a suspicious look when I stop by for coffee. I'm sitting in my office, staring at a stack of cancellation notices, when Detective Ruth Morrison walks in. She's a no-nonsense woman in her 40s who's been with the Millbrook police for 20 years. Morning, Eli. We need to talk. About what? Cara Weston filed a complaint against you, claims you've been harassing her. And you believe her? Ruth sits down across from my desk and studies me carefully. I've known you for 15 years, Eli. You're a lot of things, but dangerous isn't one of them. That said, I have to investigate every complaint that comes across my desk. So investigate. I am. And so far, I'm not finding much evidence to support her story. The phone records she provided show blocked calls, but they could have come from anyone. The witnesses who claim they saw your truck are all friends of hers. And the threatening letters... She pulls out a plastic evidence bag containing several sheets of paper. These don't sound like you. I look at the letters, which are full of crude threats and profanity. Because I didn't write them. I know. The handwriting analysis came back inconclusive, but the language is all wrong. You're too smart to put threats in writing, and too articulate to write like this. So what happens now? Now I close the case for lack of evidence. But Eli... She leans forward, her expression serious. This woman is playing a dangerous game. Be careful. After she leaves, I sit alone in my office and realize that Cara has made a critical mistake. She's overplayed her hand, gotten too clever for her own good. The false police report, the fake evidence, the media manipulation. It's all too much, too coordinated, too obvious. And that gives me an idea for one final move in our chess game. The plan comes together over the next week, like pieces of a puzzle falling into place. If Cara wants to play the victim, I'll give her an audience she won't forget. I start with Mrs. Blevins at the hotel, armed with a simple request and a $100 bill. I need you to make some phone calls, I tell her. Spread the word that there's going to be a big confrontation at the town hall meeting tomorrow night. Tell people that Cara's going to publicly accuse me of stalking her, and I'm going to defend myself. Mrs. Blevins' eyes light up with the prospect of prime gossip. What kind of confrontation? The kind that settles things once and for all. Next, I call Cara's lawyer and request a meeting to discuss settlement terms. I make it clear that I'm ready to negotiate, that the negative publicity is eliminating my business, and I just want this to end. The meeting is set for tomorrow night at 7 o'clock in the conference room at the town hall. Public venue, neutral ground, plenty of witnesses. I spend the rest of the week gathering evidence of my own. Real evidence, not the fabricated nonsense Cara provided to the police. Phone records proving I never called her. Security footage from various businesses showing my truck was nowhere near her apartment on the dates she claimed. Receipts and timestamps that establish my whereabouts during the alleged harassment incidents. But the most damaging evidence comes from an unexpected source. Jake, calling from California with an attack of conscience. I can't let her destroy you, he says over a crackling long-distance connection. She made me promise to back up her story if anyone asked, but I can't do it anymore. What story? The stalking thing. She's been planning it for weeks, setting up fake evidence, coaching witnesses. She even wrote those threatening letters herself. Can you prove that? I've got text messages where she talks about it, photos of her practicing different handwriting styles. She was stupid enough to brag about how clever she was being. Will you testify to that? There's a long pause. If I have to. But Eli, this is going to get ugly. It's already ugly, Jake. Now it's just going to get honest. The town hall meeting draws a bigger crowd than a mayoral election. Word has spread through Millbrook like wildfire that there's going to be a showdown between Eli and Cara Weston, and nobody wants to miss the entertainment. I arrive early and take a seat in the front row, my evidence folder on my lap. Cara arrives fashionably late with her lawyer, looking appropriately nervous and vulnerable. She's dressed in conservative clothes, minimal makeup, the picture of an innocent victim. The mediator, a retired judge named Harold Finch, calls the meeting to order and explains the ground rules. Each side will have 30 minutes to present their case, after which he'll make recommendations for a settlement. Cara's lawyer goes first, painting a picture of a vindictive ex-husband who can't accept that his marriage is over. He presents the fake phone records, the coached witness statements, the forged threatening letters. Cara herself takes the stand, metaphorically speaking, and gives an Oscar-worthy performance about living in fear. I just want my life back, she says, tears streaming down her face. I want to feel safe again. Murmurs of sympathy ripple through the crowd. I can see people looking at me with disgust, shaking their heads at this monster who would terrorize his own ex-wife. Then it's my turn. I stand up slowly and walk to the front of the room, my evidence folder in hand. The crowd is hostile, ready to see me humiliated and destroyed. Perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, I begin, my voice calm and steady. You've just witnessed a masterful performance by a woman who has made lying into an art form. Cara's lawyer starts to object, but Judge Finch waves him off. For the past hour, you've heard about what a terrible person I am, how I've been stalking and harassing my ex-wife, making her life miserable out of spite and wounded pride. And I'm sure it sounds very convincing. I open my folder and pull out the first document. Unfortunately for Mrs. Weston, I have something she didn't count on: the truth. For the next 20 minutes, I systematically destroy every piece of evidence Cara presented. I show the real phone records, proving the blocked calls came from a disposable cell phone registered under a fake name, a phone that was purchased by Cara herself. I present security footage that places my truck miles away from her apartment during the alleged stalking incidents. I play recordings of witness statements that contradict each other in obvious ways. But the coup de grace comes when I pull out my phone and dial Jake's number on speaker. "Jake, are you there?" "I'm here, Dad." The use of that word, Dad, sends a ripple through the crowd. People lean forward, suddenly paying closer attention. "Jake, I want you to tell everyone here about the conversation you had with Cara regarding her harassment allegations against me." There's a pause. Then Jake's voice comes through clear and strong. "She made it all up. The phone calls, the stalking, the letters, all of it. She showed me the fake evidence she was creating and asked me to back up her story if anyone questioned it." Cara's face has gone white. Her lawyer is frantically shuffling papers, looking for some way to object or deflect. "She said she was going to make you look like a dangerous stalker, so you'd have to give her whatever settlement she wanted. She called it playing the victim card." The crowd erupts in angry murmurs. I can see the tide turning, the sympathy flowing away from Cara like water down a drain. "Thank you, Jake." I hang up and look directly at Cara, who's staring at me with pure hatred. "Ladies and gentlemen, you've just heard the truth about my ex-wife. She's not a victim, she's a predator, a woman who destroyed my family, stole from my business, and then tried to destroy my reputation when I had the audacity to hold her accountable." I close my folder and walk back to my seat. I won't be offering any settlement. I won't be apologizing for seeking justice, and I won't be intimidated by false accusations and crocodile tears. Judge Finch calls for a recess, but the damage is done. The crowd is buzzing with outrage, not at me, but at Cara. People who had been giving me dirty looks are now staring at her with disgust. Cara's lawyer tries to do damage control, but it's too late. The story has shifted, the narrative has changed. She's no longer the innocent victim. She's the manipulative villain who got caught in her own web of lies. As people file out of the room, several come up to shake my hand and apologize for doubting me. Tommy claps me on the shoulder with a huge grin. "That was beautiful, boss. Absolutely beautiful." Cara and her lawyer huddle in the corner, speaking in urgent whispers. I can see her gesticulating wildly, probably trying to figure out some way to salvage the situation. But there's no coming back from this. She's been exposed in front of the entire town, her credibility destroyed beyond repair. Whatever game she was playing, it's over now. As I pack up my evidence folder, Cara approaches me one last time. "This isn't over," she hisses. "Yes, it is," I reply calmly. "You lost. Accept it with whatever dignity you have left." She starts to say something else, but thinks better of it and walks away. I watch her leave, knowing I'll probably never see her again. And that's perfectly fine with me. 2 weeks later, Cara quietly leaves town without fanfare or forwarding address. The charges against me are dropped, my reputation is restored, and my business starts recovering. Jake sends me a letter of apology from California, which I read once and then throw away. I'm standing in my workshop on a cold January morning, planning the spring planting schedule, when Tommy walks in with coffee and donuts. "So what's next, boss?" I look around at the tools and equipment that represent 20 years of hard work, at the business I almost lost to spite and revenge, at the life I'm slowly rebuilding from the ashes of betrayal. Next, we get back to work. We plant new gardens, fix broken landscapes, and make things beautiful again. Sounds good to me. I take a sip of coffee and smile for the first time in months. The war is over, and I won. Not through violence or illegal schemes, but through patience, planning, and the simple power of truth. Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even, it's getting better.